Hey guys, it's Jeff from Pressure Luck, and this weekend I decided to give myself some pleasure with a sous vide stick. Alright, so I'm going to try something new here. The lovely folks at Nova sent me this lovely sous vide stick. This is called the Nano. It's 99 bucks. Which to me is an incredible price for a high quality sous vide stick. You see it's compact, it's easy. If you can't fit it in your kitchen, you could put it in your nightstand. But before we even get into anything, what is sous vide? First of all, it looks like sous vide, and it's a French word, it's French. Sous vide is a method of cooking using this stick where you put meat, whether it be, a roast or some chicken or fish or even some eggs, in a plastic baggie which will seal up, and then you submerge it in water in a pot, and then you clamp this stick onto the side of the pot and set it at a temperature where this thing keeps the temperature going, circulating with the water to cook whatever is in the bag to perfection. Because we keep it at a specific temperature, which only this can do by method of circulating water, and it's unbelievable how precise. Now, cooking times can vary between 1 to 24 to even sometimes 48 hours if you want to do it over a whole weekend, but at the end of the day, what this basically does is a Cinderella story. It takes an ordinary piece of meat and turns it into the most mouth-watering, tender, unbelievable, prime rib caliber piece of meat, all thanks to our fairy godmother known as Sous Vide. And I have some friends to serve, so I have a whole day to do this. So I'm going to be starting today and coming back to you tomorrow, but it's going to only be in one video. So I'm going to show you how to use the sous vide today by taking a top or a bottom roast and then turning it into the most unbelievable French dip slash prime rib slash roast beef ever. And you're going to see that even just making that is worth the price of this baby right here. It makes it that good. I'm talking like unbelievable restaurant quality roast beef slash prime rib. So let's get side by sous vide and let's go. Okay, so our main ingredient, and pretty much one of the only ingredients in this recipe, is going to be a lovely cut of a roast meat. Now I'm using a bottom round roast, or you can use a top round roast. It's either one is really totally fine, but don't go really expensive on this, guys, because this stuff, you can use the cheapest meat when you sous vide, and it turns it into the most delectable, amazing, like 5-star quality experience, trust me. This is about 3.8 pounds. Go between 3 to 4 pounds, that should be just fine. It's a nice thick piece of meat. We're talking like at least, I don't know, 6 inches. Alright, so now I place my meat on a plate and I'm going to season it up. And by the way, if you have some fat on your meat, like this is a tough piece of fat, you can cut it out. Or you can just leave it. It really doesn't make a difference. Or you can just cut it off when it's all cooked and you serve. But I'm just going to leave this in. It's not a big deal. And now I want to season it with some kosher salt. Just do some sprinkles of it around. Not like anything crazy. And then get all sides. There's like 6 sides to season. It's almost like box shape. Okay, now let's sear this in a frying pan. I'm gonna add in about 2 tablespoons of olive oil, or you can use like vegetable oil or canola oil. And then put it on high heat. And then let's evenly disperse all of our oil in the pot as it heats up. It'll become really slick and liquidy. And then after it heats up on the pot for about 2 minutes, we're gonna start to sear. Alright, let's put this hunk of meat in there. And we want to sear on each side for about 3 to 4 minutes on each side. The searing step is key to this. It's going to really create an extra amazing flavor. I mean, you can totally skip it if you want, but I suggest you don't. And then once we're looking like this in terms of color, we are good. Let's flip over. It took about 3 minutes. And another 3 minutes on this side. And then just repeat the process until everything is nice and seared. And then really, like, move the oil around in the pot while you're searing a little bit, too, to make sure everything is evenly dispersed. And look at this other side I seared. That looks beautiful. Look at that. And we're really starting to look lovely on all sides, nice and seared. Look at this beauty. You can also lean it up against the edge of the pot to get the rounded edges as well. It can rest there, but you might want to support it with some tongs while you're doing that. And I think that we are done here, guys. Look at this beautiful roast, all nice and seared on all sides. Now what I want to do is put this on the plate and just let it cool for a few moments, and then let's go back to our pan and add in a few ingredients. And now I want to take 2/3 of a cup of a dry red wine, like a Cabernet Sauvignon or a Merlot or a Pinot Noir, anything like that, and add it to the pot. And then just take a spoon and sort of mix it around in there and let it simmer for about a minute or 2. And let's also add in a teaspoon of dried thyme. And then stir that into our wine that's sizzling up in the pot. And let's let this cook together for about a minute. You scrape the bottom of the pot and deglaze it of any meat that might have stuck to it. However, mine had nothing that stuck to it thanks to the oil in the pot and this being a non-stick pan. If you were to sear your meat without oil, there would be a lot more things stuck on it. Alright, let's turn the heat off. And now let's carefully pour all the contents into a little Pyrex. And if you do this over the stove like I did Daredevil fashion, just make sure you do it safely and don't really get it on top of your stove. Now I'm going to take a nice sized pan. This is a 6-quart pan that I'm actually using for my Instant Pot, liner pot. Nothing to do with the Instant Pot. I'm just using, like I said, the liner pot on its own. And then get like a nice heavy duty, sturdy, gallon sized freezer bag and open it up and then just let it rest like that inside the pot. Now let's take our seared meat, and it should be cooled by now because if it isn't, it's going to burn a hole in the bag and we don't want that to happen. So just let it cool for like 5 to 10 minutes sitting on the countertop. And now that we're inside of our bag, we're gonna add a few more things. Let's put in 2 cups of a room temperature beef broth, and we're gonna put this in first. And I want to follow that up with the wine. Now I want to put the wine in after the broth because the broth is going to be room temperature, whereas the wine's a little bit hot, and I want the first contact of liquid hitting the bag to be a little bit cooler than hot immediately. And then add in 2 bay leaves as well. And I'm also going to toss in a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. And now let's seal our bag very well all the way just until we get to the very end and leave like the last inch or so open, so it's a little bit of air coming out, okay? Everything else though should be sealed, so it just basically look like this in terms of being open. And now let's pour water in around our bag inside of our pot. We really want to submerge our bag in there. And there we go. You're going to see as you pour the water in, it's going to basically seal the bag. You don't need like a vacuum sealer for this. You see how it's sealing pretty much everything out of the bag, all of the air, which is exactly what we want. How it's hugging it. The bag is now hugging the roast and all the liquids. Now we can seal our bag. And presto, that's exactly what we want. Leave just about this much water, just like this, and then it's good. We're good to go. Just make sure it's nice and sealed. And by the way, if you're using typical like Ziploc freezer type gallon bags, I recommend double bagging them. It's just safer that way because we don't want anything to drip into the water. And if that happens, it's not a catastrophe. Just quickly put it into another bag, but that doesn't really ever happen. But if you're not using special sous vide bags, which I'll link to in the recipe, then I would definitely recommend double bagging and typical Ziploc freezer gallon bags. All right, next step. And now it is time for me to add my sous vide into the pot. And it's so awesome because you see it just clamps onto the side of the pot. There's a little gauge to show you the minimum level of the water versus the maximum, so you wanted to have it somewhere in between. And I just screw it on to clamp it so it's nice and secure. And you're going to see that it's going to begin to start growing in terms of temperature. Because this little thing on the left right here tells me what the temperature is right now of the sous vide, what it's actually measuring, what it's sensing. So now what I want to do is I want to adjust my temperature, and I'm going to go on this, guys, all the way to between 135 to 150 degrees, depending on how you want it. Go for like 135 for more of a medium rare and 150 for a well done, and somewhere else in between for the others. And look at me, I'm talking too much and I passed my temperature that I want. I want it to be 135 because I like mine like a nice medium rare. And now if I'm going to click my little time button here, and I want to go, guys, on this, believe it or not, for 24 hours. Yep. 24 hours, because the longer that you sous vide, the more tender and unbelievable and just flavorful it's going to be. So let it go like that, and then I want to hit the little play button, and we're beginning. It's as simple as that. It's going to start to circulate everything, and that's how it works. We have to be really patient, but don't worry, this is safe. This is one of the leading brands of sous vide. It's totally safe to use unattended, and you're going to be fine with that. Just, make sure it's on a nice flat surface. And rest the pan on a trivet so it doesn't, have direct heat, because it's going to be about 135 degrees. So you see my sous vide is climbing up very quickly. It's almost hitting the 135 degree target temperature, and the reason why it goes so slowly in cooking is because it's cooking at a very low temperature, and it's circulating all the heat in the water. And it really does pay off, and it's going to be unlike anything you've ever done before, like melt-in-your-mouth butter. These sous vides are incredibly precise. They keep the temperature to the exact setting you want it to be. It won't go a degree higher or a degree less. It's going to stay exactly where it is. So, in 24 hours, let's come back and check on it. Okay, and just before our meat is done cooking, let's take between 2 to 4 Vidalia, which is sweet onions, and yellow onions, and just mix them together, cut them into strands, and then just throw some olive oil into a pan, about 2 tablespoons, and then saute over medium heat for about 20 minutes, and we're going to get these beautiful caramelized brown onions. And once we place our unbelievably tender meat on some au jus basted buns, smothered in these unbelievable onions, and then covered with cheese, and then broil them for a few minutes, guys, it's going to be the most unbelievable French dip ever. Especially when you dip it in the au jus after. And once we're looking like this, where we're almost charred in some edges here, the little blackness in there, that's exactly how we want it. These onions are beautiful, and they've cooked down very, very much so. Almost like a quarter of what we began with. Alright, so just turn the heat off and set them aside for now. And our time is just about up. We have 2 minutes to go, and it's unbelievable how we are at 135 degrees the entire time. The thing maintains amazingly. In fact, I'll show you how it can quickly deviate. It can sense once it changes. Like, it's unbelievable. Now, you'll see, because you're cooking for 24 hours, it's inevitable that some of the water might evaporate. So before you go to bed at night, just make sure you pour more in there so it makes sure it covers the top of the bag, just like so. And you're going to see immediately the temperature is going to change. It's crazy. You can sense it immediately just from putting a little bit of water. Look at that. It went to 134.8. It's dropping, but it's going to go right back up to 135. Look at that. It's amazing how sensitive it is. But again, it'll sear itself right back up to 135. Or whatever temperature you set it at before. It'll remember what it was and go right back to it. That's the joy about a sous vide. It's all about keeping everything to the exact precise temperature. And we are finished cooking. Ta-da! All done. Alright guys, let's turn our sous vide off. Okay, so now let's take our meat out of the pot and we're going to place it on a cutting board or something with like a dish towel under it because it's going to be wet. Okay, and there we go. Alright, now let's open this up, get it out of the bag, and oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, look at this. Oh, okay, what I want to do is carefully remove my meat with some tongs and place it on a plate. Now be very careful when you're doing this, guys, because we want to make sure that all of the au jus that we now have in there is going to stay, because we're going to drain that and put it into a bowl for dipping. And then just get a plate and put it right underneath. And look at this massive hunk of meat that we've sous vided. Sous vide, I don't know the past tense, but regardless, it looks fantastic. Alright, to set this aside and let it cool for a few moments. And now take all of the au jus that we have from our bag and pour it into a bowl. That is a lot of au jus. Au jus. Who knew? Alright guys, now if this is a moment where you can taste your au jus and you can season it to your taste, I think it tastes absolutely perfect as it is. But if you want a little more salt or add some pepper to it, by all means, feel free to season it up as you'd like. But I think it's perfect. Alright, back to our meat. You can either start to slice it now, or if you really want to give it a perfect finishing touch, and the way I look at it is, why not? You've already spent 24 hours cooking this thing. What's another 5 to 10 minutes? Let's give it a final sear. Let's go to the stovetop and heat up a skillet. And then pour in a little more oil, whether it be vegetable oil or olive oil, whatever. And since we have oil in the pot, just pat your roast dry on all sides so it doesn't conflict with the oil. A nice old-fashioned paper towel will do just fine. Alright, now let's put this in the pan and sear for about 1.5 to 2 minutes on each side. And all of our sides are nice and seared. It's almost like a charred look, and that's exactly what we want. Look at that, nice and glistening. Okay guys, let's transport this to a carving board and cut it up. And here we go. Now, the way I want to cut this up is I want to slice it against the grain. That means you see these strips here that are going in this direction? I want to go opposite that, otherwise it's going to cut into strands. We don't want that. We want it to be nice slices. Alright, so I'm going to start over here and just start slicing. And oh my gosh, look at this meat. Look at that. Oh, I can't wait to get even deeper. It's gonna be even more amazing. Look at how perfect that looks. So I want to slice relatively thin slices. Not super thin, but not super thick. And as I continue to slice, oh, wow, wow. Look at that. Look at that color. It's a perfect, like, medium rare, which is exactly how I love steak or meat in general. Look at that. Wonderful. Keep going. Okay, everyone, I want you to see the way this meat has cooked. I mean, are you seeing this? Look at how perfect this is. It's so beautiful, and it's juicy, and it's pink, but thoroughly cooked to perfection. Keep slicing. About 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch is good. And oh my gosh, oh my, it's like prime rib. I gotta try it. All right, just this little piece here, and I'm gonna put it in some of the au jus. Look at that. This tastes like prime rib. It tastes like prime rib. Prime rib. And this isn't a prime rib. This is like a simple, like, bottom roast. It's like nothing. It's a very cheap cut of meat, but right now it tastes like something right out of, like, Luger's. It's that good. All right, I gotta keep cutting it or else I'm gonna eat the entire thing. Let's go. Look at this. I love when the meat slices like butter. Look at it. It's just like curling over when I cut it. It's beautiful. Beautiful. And I know I probably sound extra annoying, but I'm really excited about this. It was the easiest thing in the world to make. It just took, 24 hours of waiting, but it took absolutely no effort. The hardest thing was honestly putting the meat in the bag and making sure that when you poured the au jus out that it didn't spill everywhere. Like what happened when I brined my turkey. And by the way, as I'm cutting all my meat, I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna put it inside of like a big container of some sort. Just put it in there, wipe the surface first, obviously, and there we go. And pour that au jus right over it, so keep it nice and moist. And there's our final piece of delicious, delicious French dip. Basically 4 pounds of prime rib for like 12 bucks. I love it. Now you can just eat it how it is, slice it like a thick prime rib and just use the au jus, or you can make amazing French dip sandwiches, which I'm going to do. First off, let's set our oven to broil. And now get a baking sheet, line it with some aluminum foil. The word tin foil is not correct apparently. People yell at me for saying tin foil because it's not made with tin, it's aluminum foil. And now let's assemble our sandwiches. I'm making 3 of them because, well, it's gonna be me and 2 other hungry fellas. And using a spatula and with clean fingers, I'm just going to lay 3 mounds of meat, top each piece off with some of the caramelized onion, and then add on a slice or 2 of a cheese of your choice, and I'm putting Munster cheese. But you could use any cheese you want. You could use provolone, you could use mozzarella, you can use Swiss, but I'm feeling all Munstery. That could be Herman, that could be Lily, that could be Eddie. Now let's pop these babies into the oven. And I'm gonna broil it in there for about 3 to 5 minutes, on like the second to top rack. In the meantime, take a Kaiser roll or any bun of that sort, and then take the au jus and then brush it on to each side of the bun. Alright, and now let me check on that in the oven, and oh yeah, look at that. We are perfect. And then take one of the little piles of meat that we just cooked, and then transport it onto the bun. And then sandwich it with the top of the bun. And here we go, guys. Some French dip. But we wouldn't call it a French dip unless we were dipping it into some au jus, so let's go. Better than a restaurant. Better than, come here. Kevin, come here. Can you get me on camera?
What's happening?
Kevin is one of our good friends. Come here, Kevin.
Hi.
He's amazing. He's so talented and funny too. Kevin.
Oh, you're too sweet.
Here, why don't you try this French dip? Just take a bite of it and be honest about your opinion. This is a sous vide French dip. How is that?
Juicy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's juicy. I mean, it's
wow.
There you go. I mean, they don't call it all Jew for nothing. And I'm a Jew.
What kind of meat is that?
This is, I love that he's asking. This is a bottom cut, something that's very cheap. It was like a $14 for $12 for 4 pounds worth.
Oh, wow.
I sous vide it for 24 hours, and because I sous vide it for 24 hours, it tastes like a prime rib.
Wow, it's incredible.
Everyone's gonna get one. You're all gonna get your own, but there you go. Richard, why don't you just take a bite of this one too? Richard, get in the video. Just make sure you're in here. Here, dip it in the au jus, and then take a bite of it, Rich. What are we thinking?
Oh my god.
Is that good?
Yeah, it's so amazing. It's better than both of those roast beef places we went to in Brooklyn the same day.
Oh, Brendan and Cars and Rollin' Roaster. Well, awesome! It's a hit, guys. If you enjoy these videos, go to pressurelockcooking.com. I have tons of recipes there. I'm starting doing other things like sous-viding now. Look at that. Is it even, I don't know if that's the right verb. You're the editor. Is it sous-viding, right?
Sous-Veed.
Okay, sure. And, oh, let me take a bite. Look at that.
I want one again!
Oh, look at that. Alright. pressurelockcooking.com. Yeah, look at the fans. Look at these, by the way, War Eagle! Go to facebook.com/pressurelockcooking and like that page for tons of other recipes, and of course at Pressure Lock to subscribe to me on YouTube, Twitter, Pinterest, and Instagram. Thank you so much again, guys, and I think it speaks for itself right now. Look at this, and we have more sandwiches to assemble, so there's plenty more that came from, guys.
I want one again!
Oh.